Dear friends of revolutionary changes, today we'll talk about what countries like cryptocurrencies the most. I posed myself the exact same question, so I did some research. I found that Hedgewith did a crypto study that analyzed basically the countries who have the highest adoption of crypto. And those countries that are represented on the top are the United States, India, Singapore, Turkey, and Taiwan, and also the United Arab Emirates. However, when looking at the other side, when looking at the ownership and usage, most of those countries are not represented at the top, and that was actually kind of surprising for me, as I thought there would be more correlation between ownership and adoption, as the only countries who are represented in both lists on the top are the United States and India. The other countries are, for example, Ukraine, Nigeria, and Vietnam. But there is a much more interpretation to be done. It's not only just that two countries are represented on the top. It's also in general noticeable that those emerging economies show a significant interest in crypto technology. And it's not just limited to some specific countries like the United States. It's in general, it becomes more and more of a global trend. So it's basically represented in all parts of the world, not only just in some parts that are extremely developed, like the United States, for example. And this shows the general acceptance of the crypto technology. What is also very important to see is that those countries who have higher regulatory framework and changes regarding a legal framework for those technologies, they rank among the top regarding the ownership and usage. An example, of course, is the United States. What, however, is still to be asked is, why are some countries more popular for crypto than others? I mean, not all of the developed economies are represented on the top. Well, there are a couple of reasons. One, it's very popular among at least emerging economies is financial inclusion. Also, this goes hand in hand basically with the need for banking services, as in some countries, banking services are still very limited, which of course is pretty crazy as we live in the 21st century. However, the main motive, in my opinion, is the massive gains that are possible. As when just looking at the Bitcoin price at the moment, it's in an all-time high, and it's not showing any sign of slowing down soon. And this, of course, is a massive chance for investors. But let's dive deep into the reasons. First, there's a need for financial inclusion. In some countries, like I mentioned, it's very difficult to make transactions or to invest. And for some of us, this might sound crazy, but in some countries, it takes very forever to make transactions from one place to another. And transactions can take literally a couple of weeks. And if there are even higher transfers, like higher sums of money, it also means a lot of paperwork. And it takes literally forever for a transaction to go through. Also, the investment opportunities are pretty limited, as the stock exchanges in those countries might only have a couple of stocks and not all of the stocks, which of course is not good for people who want to invest. Also, this goes hand in hand with the limited banking services. In some countries, they might not be able to have banking services because there might be a very poor infrastructure, or there might be banks, but those banks are not very trustworthy. So they're very limited with the options they can invest in. And this is, of course, a very good motive to go to crypto, as crypto is an alternative technology where it's not necessary to be connected to a bank and to rely on a bank to make transactions. Also, you don't need a broker to sell any stocks or options. You can directly do it with the internet. All you need to do is be connected to the internet, and that's basically it. And of course, there's also a network to be needed. And that brings me to my next point. The main motive is to make massive gains that are, in my opinion, at least, much more easier to be done than in the stock market. So while for those people, all those things play a critical role, like the limited options, and of course, also the limited trust in banks in some instances, or the poor infrastructure, they can also make massive gains pretty quickly. As at least at the moment, the prices are literally going through the roof, as of course leading the way is Bitcoin, that is reaching all-time highs after every day. At the moment at least, it climbs and climbs and climbs. And by the way, this creates about 13,100 new millionaires a day, at least at the current pace, which is of course pretty crazy. And for those people who have a very difficult time to invest in different in different stocks, cryptocurrencies are a safe haven, as it's a lot easier to be done, as you just need to transfer some money to buy the coin, which only takes probably 1 to 2 minutes, and that's it. And you can sell it all the time, 24 hours. It takes 1 to 2 minutes. And with the current prices that the altcoins are reaching, which in my opinion are, by the way, the main winners of the crypto one are the altcoins, as they see massive gains. It's a good opportunity for people in those emerging economies to gamble a bit and make significant amounts of money. Also, what is very noticeable is that those countries who are more tech savvy are also represented on the top, which of course, in my opinion, is not very surprising. As with crypto, you need at least some sort of technological knowledge. You don't need to be an expert, but you need to know at least some basic, like setting up a wallet, making exchanges, sending money from one address to another, maybe even bridging. So those countries who are in general more younger, like India, for example, or the United States, those countries are also represented on the top. As for the population who is now growing up with this technology, it's a lot easier. And I think a lot of us can refer to this, as I know from my own experience that people who are not very used to, not even online banking, for example, they have a very difficult time of setting up a wallet, making transactions, and so on. So of course, for me, this was not very surprising that the United States and India are among the top there. Also, there are the emerging countries, for example, like El Salvador. They see it as a massive chance, as while the economy is still emerging, crypto gives them a massive chance to play a significant role in the world and to gain significant powers. As when you just think about it, the countries with the most important companies are all basically in the technological sector, like Apple, Google, for example, and so on. They're all related to the newest technology, which of course back at that time was the internet. But this also helped those countries like the United States to gain a significant influence over the whole world. So I think that those countries, they see it as a massive chance to first of all improve their economy and also to play a crucial role in the world. So what is the impact? And in general, what can we expect to see in the future? Well, the impact, there's already a growing acceptance in crypto technology, and there are already some blockchains available. For example, for IBM, they're already existing. And however, they're still experimenting, especially banks. If banks would implement blockchain technology, it would be a significant step, as it would make transactions a lot more transparent and also secure. And I think in general that blockchain technology will be more and more implemented in our everyday lives, as they are more safer option. They're more safer option as it's very difficult to tamper a blockchain. As once a transaction is made, it's very difficult, as you need to gain at least 51% of the block, which is very difficult to do, as there are so many transactions, especially when looking at those big blockchains. There needs to be a significant amount of power, energy power necessary, to be exact, hash power, to tamper a transaction. And Michael Saylor even said it, with Bitcoin it's basically impossible, as you need to gain control over so many blocks, which also would take not only a significant amount of money, but also a significant network to be controlled, which is basically impossible. There are also another cryptocurrency that I like, of course this is not financial advice, is active in the supply chain management. And I think this could also be very interesting for the whole sector, as with supply chain management, if those would be connected with a blockchain, it's possible to track transactions. And it's not only possible to track transactions, also possible to track a product that is delivered from start to finish. And this means it's possible to see if there are already some problems along the way while on the delivery. While traditionally, this is unfortunately not the case. And it can be the case that, for example, you deliver a product to a customer, the customer doesn't like it, send it back. So you wasted a significant amount of money basically for nothing. However, this could soon change. Also, I can see an impact on finance, I think it will be possible that there will be tokenization of assets. For example, with fractional ownership. It would be pretty interesting to implement fractional ownership in, for example, the real estate market. As the real estate market, unfortunately, is still very illiquid, which means it's very difficult to sell a house that's more on the expensive side. But even the general houses are very difficult to sell, as those sums are pretty huge and not very affordable. So it would be interesting to see, for example, a fractional ownership of assets. So for example, if a house is like worth 2 million, that there could be 20 or 40 different holders who have all a significant percentage. And this would make it a lot easier to sell. Also, what I think would be interesting is in the healthcare system, as again, it's very difficult sometimes to track the health products, or when tracking the delivery, there could be also problems that some packages might be missing, or they might be not correctly packed. So I think it would be a good idea to also implement it on that. Also, I think it could be very interesting, especially to see in the future where those emerging economies are going, as they're already putting a lot of effort in to not miss the next trend. So I think those emerging economies really have a chance in the future to play a significant role, as they're already among the pioneers when analyzing this technology. So in total, there are a couple of different reasons why crypto technology is well spread among the world. It's very well spread among the world, not only among emerging economies, but also among developed. It shows a general acceptance, which in my opinion is mainly due to the lack of access to banking systems, and also of course the motive for massive financial gains, which are pretty much possible in the crypto market, especially at the moment. Also, I think in the future, that it could be a massive change among powers, as those countries who are already experimenting with crypto technology have a chance to gain significantly power, as when looking back at the history, those countries who put a lot of effort in investing in new technologies and also supporting new technologies, which is also very important, as there are, especially the emerging economies, they're putting a lot of investments in to support this technology, to really have a chance to become a more and more developed country. Of course, this will take time, but I think there will be a lot of implementations, for example, in the healthcare system, supply chain management, and also it can help to increase financial inclusions. However, I think there might still be some investments to be done. So it's not as simple as just bringing crypto technology there. I think it's also important that there must be some legal frameworks that are very strong, and also they must be universal basically. As with crypto technology, it's also possible to make cross-border payments across different among different continents. So it's very important, as there, in my opinion, still, while I still like this technology, there are still some threats that are especially in the technological and also among the framework side. I think it's very important that those issues are tackled, and that companies, organizations, and institutions really work together to make this technology work, and also help those countries who have problems with setting up this technology. As I think it's not just enough to build a network. There also might be some investments need to be made in the infrastructure to really improve the internet, and also maybe set up a lighting network, which would make transactions a lot faster. But of course, this is my opinion. You can have a completely different one. Let me know what you think. Do you think that those emerging countries have a chance to be among the top, or among even the top of the top in the future regarding the crypto technology? And that this technology basically gives them a boost to rank among the top developed countries in the world? Let me know. I will see you in the next video.